Have you ever felt like the biggest roadblock in your life isn't the world around you, but yourself? That little voice in your head that doubts, criticizes, and second-guesses your every move? Well, you're not alone. In fact, science has a lot to say about why we're often our own worst enemy. Let's start with the basics: self-sabotage. Psychologists define self-sabotage as behaviors or thought patterns that hold us back from achieving our goals. But why do we do this? It turns out the answer lies in our brain's wiring and some deeply rooted psychological mechanisms. Our brain is a survival machine. The amygdala, which processes fear, often overreacts to perceived threats, even when those threats are harmless, like applying for a new job or starting a project. This overreaction can trigger self-doubt and avoidance behaviors. Combine this with our prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making, and we often end up stuck between overthinking and inaction. Take procrastination, for example. Researchers like Dr. Fushia Siroa from the University of Sheffield explain that procrastination isn't about laziness, it's about emotion regulation. We avoid tasks not because they're hard, but because they make us feel anxious or inadequate. So instead of facing the discomfort, we delay and then beat ourselves up for it later. Now let's talk about the inner critic. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, teaches us that negative self-talk often stems from distorted thinking patterns like catastrophizing or overgeneralizing. Psychologist Dr. Kristen Neff has studied how self-compassion can help quiet that inner critic. But many of us mistake self-compassion for weakness, so we stay stuck in cycles of self-judgment instead. Another major factor? Imposter syndrome. Studies estimate that up to 70% of people experience this at some point in their lives. This phenomenon makes us feel like frauds, even when we're perfectly qualified. It's fueled by perfectionism and a deep fear of failure. From an evolutionary perspective, this self-doubt once had a purpose. Thousands of years ago, second-guessing ourselves helped us survive in dangerous environments. But in today's world, where risks are often emotional rather than physical, this ancient wiring can do more harm than good. So, how do we stop being our own worst enemy? The first step is awareness. Start noticing your inner dialogue. Are you speaking to yourself the way you'd speak to a friend? Studies show that practicing mindfulness and self-compassion can rewire your brain over time, reducing fear and self-criticism. Another strategy is setting realistic goals and breaking them into smaller steps. Behavioral psychology suggests that small, consistent actions build confidence and momentum. Celebrate even the tiniest victories. They signal to your brain that you're capable. At the end of the day, being your own worst enemy is a challenge we all face. But remember, you're also your own greatest ally. By understanding the psychological roots of self-sabotage and learning to work with your mind, not against it, you can take control of your life and rewrite your narrative. Thanks for watching. If this video resonated with you, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's continue exploring the fascinating ways our minds shape our lives, together.